Hello, Millie. It's been a while since we've spoken, hasn't it? Do you have a moment right now?
Oh, hi there, Mom. Yeah, I'm free right now. What can I do for you? Is everything all right?
I wanted to discuss my upcoming birthday with you. You remember a short while ago when I invited the whole family over to my house for dinner?
Yes, I remember. I'm pretty sure you said it was going to be this weekend. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. But there's been a change in plans. After giving it much thought, I've decided that I don't want you to come after all.
Oh, okay. So, dinner's off then? Got it. I'll be sure to let my husband and daughter know that we won't be going to your place after all.
What? No. You don't understand. Your husband and daughter are more than welcome to come by. You, however, are another story. I don't want you to come, is what I'm trying to say.
Ah, so you meant you in the singular, not you in the plural. I see.
You understand, don't you, Millie? A birthday is a special occasion. It's a time to celebrate with loved ones. And that's the problem. I don't love you at all. I rather hate you, actually.
Right, I am aware of that. Okay, I'll tell Mark and Hannah that I will not be coming then.
Please do. However, you are not to tell my son that I was the one who told you not to come. Such childish tattling is beneath even someone as low as you.
What?
Consider this your birthday present to me for this year. Well, Millie, will you be a good sport? Won't you let an old woman at the end of her life spend her own birthday in peace and happiness with the people she actually cares about?
I feel like you're underestimating your lifespan there, Mom. You're not that old.
Come now, Millie. Don't make this more pathetic than it has to be. Flattery will get you nowhere with me, least of all an invitation to my birthday party.
It wasn't intended to be flattery or even a compliment, but okay, I guess.
It's so unfortunate that things had to turn out like this between us, Millie. I wish we could have had a more positive relationship as mother and daughter-in-law. If only you had given me a grandson. If you had done that, then maybe I would be more inclined to accept you as a family member. But alas, all you ever managed to pop out was that girl. And whenever we meet, all you ever do is talk back to me. Aren't you embarrassed to be such a brat at your age?
If I may, I'd like to point out that you have never, ever made any effort towards building that positive relationship with me you claim to have wanted. You hated me from the very start. It didn't have anything to do with us having a daughter. Even before we got married, you were always criticizing my looks, my family, and so on and so forth. And unlike you, I really made an effort to build a positive relationship with you. But after years of trying, you never even budged a single inch, so I simply gave up.
Effort? Please, Millie, don't be ridiculous. You can't call anything you did effort. Sure, you're hideously ugly, but you could have tried to make up for that by being more obedient to me. Honestly, I have no idea what my son of mine sees in you. His father chose me for his wife, so he obviously has excellent taste in women. I wonder where that silly boy got his taste from.
For the record, your son Mark cares much more about my personality than my appearance.
Your personality, is it? You've been doing nothing but making smart-aleck remarks to your mother-in-law for this entire conversation. How is that personality worth marrying you for? Don't make me laugh. Dear God, I feel so sorry for that poor girl you gave birth to. I can only pray that Hannah doesn't turn out like you. It seems she has her father's looks, at any rate, so at least there's that. But if she inherits your horrendous personality, it will be all over for her. Her life will be full of nothing but disappointment and heartbreak.
Uh-huh. Well, if that's all you've got to say to me, my break is over soon and I need to be getting back to work.
What's that? Nothing to say for yourself this time. I see you finally admitted that I'm 100% correct about you. Go ahead and go back to your silly little part-time job cleaning toilets or whatever debasing thing it is that you do. Just remember that I don't want to see your face or even hear your name at all on my birthday. I'd sooner die the night before my birthday than have you ruin it for me.
Hi, Mom. I need to talk to you about my daughter.
Oh, what is it? I was just about to start getting things ready for dinner. Do make this as quick as possible if you wouldn't mind.
Trust me, I don't want to have to drag this out any longer than I have to. It's about the birthday party at your house from last weekend. You said quite possibly the worst thing I could imagine to my daughter.
Oh, I did, I'm sorry. Nothing's ringing any bells. I don't have the foggiest idea what you're talking about.
Don't play dumb with me. You told Hannah that Mark isn't her dad. But you didn't stop there. You told her that I was cheating on Mark with another man and that man is her father. I am racking my brain to think of what possible reason you could have had for saying that to her. Do you have any idea how much pain you caused her? She didn't get over that for days. Why did you say that to her? Explain yourself.
Oh my goodness, no. She actually believed me? Well, that was nothing but a silly little joke.
Hannah is 3 years old, Mom. And not to mention, you also told her that she had to be sure to keep it a secret from everyone, because if anyone finds out, her mommy and daddy would get divorced. And she'd have to spend the rest of her life at an orphanage. So no, you're not gonna just play this off as a silly little joke, you sociopath. What is wrong with you? You should have heard the way she was crying and asking me, is Daddy really not my daddy? Who is my real daddy? Why doesn't my real daddy live with us?
That's incredible. The little girl still believes that Mark isn't her father.
You are laughing? You severely traumatized a 3-year-old girl and you're laughing? This is no laughing matter. I set her straight and told her you were lying, but that damage isn't going to heal very easily. You need to apologize to Hannah, admit you were lying, and promise to never lie to her again. That's the bare minimum that you have a responsibility to do.
Don't be ridiculous. It was just a simple joke. I haven't done anything worth apologizing over. If anything, all of this is Hannah's fault.
What? How can you possibly blame Hannah for what you did?
On the night of my birthday party, that little brat had the gall to come to me and tell me to stop being mean to her mommy. You've been telling Hannah all sorts of vile lies about me, haven't you? Making me out to be the bad guy. Well, two can play at that game. I did nothing wrong.
I have never spoken ill of you in front of my daughter. Besides, it wouldn't take any prodding from me for her to want to tell you off about how you treat me. All she would need to do is watch how you act around me.
Unbelievable. You really see yourself as the victim here? Whatever. In any case, Hannah stuck her nose where it doesn't belong, and she's going to have to pay the price for that. I no longer wish to have anything to do with that little brat. Neither you nor her are ever welcome in my house again.
I've overlooked a lot from you over the years, but this is too much for me. You have crossed a line. I'm telling my husband about this and everything else I've held back up until now. You don't want to see me ever again? That is fine. But don't expect to see your son ever again either.
Oh, I'm shaking in my boots. Do what you wish, I don't care. Frankly, the very fact that Mark chose a woman like you makes me regret having given birth to him. Not to mention the fact that he has always prioritized you over me has been a thorn in my side for some time now.
So you're prepared to disown your own son because he prioritizes his wife over his mother?
Of course I am. I don't feel any compulsion to continue a relationship that has no benefit for me. If that boy wants to spend the rest of his days being a servant boy for an ugly harpy like yourself, so be it.
Well then, I take it you're not going to apologize to Hannah then?
Never. Weren't you paying attention? I have no need for you or that girl any longer. I won't be associating with the likes of you ever again. If you need money, I won't give you any. If you need advice, you can go see a shrink. I won't even send Hannah any presents on her birthday or Christmas.
I'm fine with that. Actually, that's the best possible result I could have hoped for.
I see you're fully intending to be a rotten little smart aleck to the very end. Feel free to tell that son of mine whatever you'd like. I'll be giving a full report to my husband as well. Wait until he hears what sort of awful things you've said to me today. He will not be pleased.
By all means, go ahead. Don't leave out a single detail.
Don't come crying to me when you're written out of my husband's will. You won't receive 1 single cent from us. I'd rather donate it all to some charity. I'll give you one last chance, Millie. Apologize to me immediately.
I don't need any of your money, and I have nothing to apologize for.
So, you've made your choice. Now you're going to have to live with the consequences. And when the consequences come, I won't have the smallest shred of pity for you. As a matter of fact, I'll be laughing my head off at your despair. Millie! Hannah came over to my house just a moment ago.
Really? Did she say anything to you?
It seems she wanted to get back at me for telling her that Mark wasn't her father at my birthday party. She was so angry, that stupid little girl. My daddy is so my daddy. She sounded so pathetic. I guess my worst fears came true. That poor girl really did inherit your awful personality.
I see.
And what's this about you getting a DNA test? You went to all that trouble over an innocent little joke? How embarrassing for you.
I told you how traumatic it was for her. I wanted to do whatever I possibly could to reassure her that her father was, in fact, her father. I was doubtful a child as young as she was would even understand the significance of a paternity test. But it looks like just knowing that we can prove it was enough for her to be at ease again.
Well, I'm terribly sorry to hear that.
Sorry? What do you mean?
I'm sorry to hear that Hannah actually is Mark's daughter. Imagine if that's what the results showed, and it would have been fantastic. That awful brat would have probably ripped her hair out. She'd be so sad. Not to mention you and Mark would have had a massive fight. You probably have even gotten divorced.
Yeah, about that. You got the parties mixed up a little bit, but all of that is going to happen in short order. In fact, my husband is crying right now.
What? What is he crying about?
He's crying because he just found out that your husband isn't his real father.
What? I don't understand.
That was the result of the paternity test he took. We didn't just test Mark and Hannah for paternity. We tested your husband and Mark for paternity as well.
Why? This doesn't make any sense. Why did my husband get a paternity test?
He was concerned about Hannah, so we've been communicating back and forth for a while now. When we told him that we were considering getting a paternity test done on Mark and Hannah, he said that he wanted to get one done too.
But he has no reason to suspect anything. Why would he want a paternity test? And the results said he wasn't the father. That must be a mistake. You must have gone through some third-rate paternity testing service.
Actually, they had the test done twice at 2 different companies. The results were the same for both tests. Apparently, your husband has been suspicious about you for a long time. The only reason he's held back for so long is because he wanted Mark to be his son. But the truth is that he had doubts.
This can't be.
Back before you were pregnant with Mark, your husband said he had seen you together with another man. Then when you told him you were pregnant a short time later, well, he put 2 and 2 together.
No. After all this time.
Then when he heard about what you had said to Hannah, that made him even more suspicious. I guess he got tired of not knowing the truth and wanted answers, for better or for worse.
Hold on a moment. He hasn't been home since yesterday morning. Does that have something to do with this? He told me that he was going to be going away for a while for work, but was that all a lie?
I'm afraid it was. He says that he can no longer live in the same house as the woman who betrayed his trust.
Is he with you right now? I'll be over there shortly. Tell him to wait right there.
Let me save you a trip. He isn't here.
All right, fine. Then tell me where he is.
I'm sorry, Mom, but I can't tell you.
Why not?
Because he explicitly told me that he doesn't want you to know. Don't worry, though. He did say that he'll be contacting you in the near future. You just have to wait until then.
In the near future? What is that supposed to mean?
Don't ask me. I guess he'll contact you when he's ready.
Please, Millie, I'm begging you. Tell me where my husband is. I need to see him and apologize.
Give it up, Mom. There's nothing you could say or do to me that would get me to tell you where he is. If you really want to know, then you have only one option. Contact him yourself and beg him to tell you.
This is terrible, Millie. What am I going to do? I was finally able to talk to my husband, but he says he wants to divorce me.
That's probably the least surprising development of the last few weeks.
This is all your fault. Every last bit of it. If you hadn't gone and done that stupid paternity test, none of this would have happened. If that old fool actually goes through with this and divorces me, you're going to have to take responsibility for it.
I'm sorry, what? Just how is any of this my fault? This all started when you told my daughter a vicious, cruel lie that Mark wasn't really her father.
I didn't expect she would actually believe me. It was just a joke. Families tell that sort of joke all the time. You know, siblings telling each other they were really adopted, that they found out by the side of the road, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no. What you said to my daughter was far, far beyond the acceptable range for a joke. You told my 3-year-old daughter that I had an affair and that she was my love child. And, as you should already be very aware, that caused untold amounts of emotional pain for her. But now you want to sit there and pretend like it's our fault when you finally start facing consequences? Get out of here. You're reaping what you've sown.
I'll apologize to Hannah. Is that what you want?
No thanks. There's no need for you to do that. Hannah has already been reassured that we are, in fact, her mother and father.
Please, Millie, I need your help. I need you to serve as a mediator between me, my son, and my husband. I keep trying to contact them, but neither of them return my messages or calls. First time I've spoken to my husband in days was when he came by the house this afternoon, but he barely even said a word to me the entire time. I admitted that I cheated on him, and I apologized to him, but he still won't forgive me.
I don't blame him. I'd have a hard time forgiving you for lying about the father of your child for all these years, too.
But that's all in the past. It's been years, decades. We have a wonderful relationship now. Isn't that what matters? I mean, he's the only father Mark has ever known. How can he even think about saying anything as ridiculous as, he's not my son? We've been married for 30 years now. What have we all been through together?
You're not in any position whatsoever to be demanding your husband simply move on right now. Also, let me correct you on one major mistake you just made. Your husband was very firm in saying that he will always think of Mark as his real son, even if there's no blood relationship between them. The two of them had a very long heart-to-heart discussion about that and many other issues.
But if they work things out between them, then why does he still want to divorce me? What's the issue?
What's the issue? Oh boy, Mom, where do I start? Don't forget, it was you who reminded your husband about the time when he suspected you of having an affair. The lie you told Hannah about me was actually the true story of your affair. But that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Your husband has been absolutely sick and tired of dealing with all kinds of bad behavior from you over the years.
Bad behavior? What bad behavior?
How much time do you have? That's a long list. Well, for starters, there's the fact that you've been a cruel, overbearing mother-in-law to me since the day Mark and I got married. Then there's all the things you've done to your friends and neighbors. Remember the woman who you tried to sell one of your awful paintings to? When she turned you down, you started spreading rumors that she was addicted to gambling and deep in debt to a local loan shark. And finally, lest we forget, you told an evil lie to your own granddaughter that caused her incredible pain. That's why you're going to get divorced at 60, a decades-long string of inexcusably bad behavior toward everyone around you.
I'll change, I promise. I'll never do any of that stuff ever again. I promise not to hurt a soul for as long as I live.
It's not going to do you any good to have this conversation with me.
You don't understand. I need you to talk to those two for me. The only person I was able to get a word out of today was his lawyer. He's my own husband, and he's about to divorce me. But he wouldn't even look at his wife of 30 years. You're the only one I can turn to now. You have to tell them how I feel.
Tell me, Mom, when you were coming up with this grand plan to get me to forgive you and argue on your behalf to my husband and father-in-law, did you actually think it was going to work? Did you think I was just going to forget all of the horrible, heartless things you've said and done to me?
I told you, Millie. I'm sorry about all of that. I'm sorry about everything.
I don't believe that you're making a sincere apology, not for 1 second. Think about it. Why are you even messaging me like this right now? You're not trying to make things right with me. You're just trying to save your own skin. You're a selfish, heartless, soulless monster, and I never want to speak to you again.
Millie, please, don't say that. You don't mean it. I am being sincere. I've never been so sincere in my life. I'm sorry that I mocked you because your father died when you were young. I'm sorry that I insulted your appearance. I'm sorry that I added spices to your cooking when you weren't looking to make it taste bad.
Wait, that was you?
Yes, and I'm very sorry.
I understand.
You do? Then you forgive me?
No. I mean, I understand that you actually do feel somewhat sorry for what you've done. That doesn't mean I'm going to forgive you, though.
What? Why not? I apologize for everything. What more could you possibly want from me?
Don't you get it? I don't really want anything from you at all. All I want is for you to make a prompt exit from me and my family's lives. What was it that you told me a while ago? Something about when the consequences finally come, you won't have any pity for me? And that you'll actually be laughing your head off at my despair? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do to you right now.
I was only saying that out of anger. I didn't mean it.
Even if that's true, so what? That doesn't change the fact that you said it. You can't unsay what you've said.
Please, Millie, you've got to understand how truly, sincerely sorry I am. From now on, I'll treat you better than my daughter-in-law. I'll treat you like my own daughter. I'll never make a single more cruel joke at your expense ever again. So please, please, go to my husband and son and ask them to give me a second chance.
Yeah, that's not happening. You've hurt every single member of your family far too much for far too long. It's too late for forgiveness. You know, that reminds me of another thing you said to me. I don't feel any compulsion to continue a relationship that has no benefit for me. You do remember saying that, don't you? Well, guess what? A relationship with you has absolutely no benefit for me, and I'm putting an end to it. My husband's parents attempted to find some way to come to an amicable divorce, but there was nothing they could ever agree on, so they ended up going to court. In the end, however, my mother-in-law realized that she had no hope of winning anything close to a favorable judgment, so she finally agreed to settle and agree to an amicable divorce. I think what really drove the point home to her was seeing the firm, determined look on her husband's face in the courtroom. After the divorce, my mother-in-law was kicked out of their family's house and moved into an apartment. She managed to get a reasonable share of their assets, which should be able to finance her lifestyle for a while. But unless she either gets a job or gets remarried, I don't think she's going to be able to make ends meet for very long. I'd say she's in for a pretty rough road ahead of her. Plus, she also has to take into account the fact that she's not too far away from hitting an age when she won't be able to fend for herself anymore. Unfortunately for her, with both her husband and son cutting her out of their lives, she doesn't have anyone else that she can rely on. Honestly, it's not even about the money, in my opinion. The sheer loneliness is what's going to be the worst for her. I'll bet she's going to come to regret her course in life up until now pretty soon. Don't get me wrong, though, I don't feel an ounce of pity for her. She's made her bed, so now she can lie in it. The only way she'll ever be able to change is if she faces the consequences for what she's done full on. As for my husband and father-in-law, I was worried about how things might turn out between them now that they know the truth. But actually, they spend even more time together now than they ever did before. Not that they had a bad relationship beforehand or anything. Rather, the deep bonds they already had became even stronger. I'm very optimistic about our family's new start.